Family, the wind of change continues to blow throughout Africa. We've been talking about what has been happening in Kenya, and it's still happening in Kenya anyway, because the GZ youth are not surrendering. They still are demanding that William Ruto must go. Now we see this war, like we were saying, that this war is not just going to be a Kenyan war only. It is going to continue spreading throughout Africa, because it is a time of change. It is a wind of change that is blowing, and there is nothing that can be done to stop this, because it's the season of change. It is just the time of the Lord, and beginning now to change other rogue governments and these old politicians that are sticking and holding on to power at the expense of the masses of its people. So this is what is happening, and what we are looking at is a situation where now another country has started. Ugandan youth, they start demos against Museveni, and against Museveni's rule, and as well as his corruption, because there's also quite a lot of corruption. There's what is happening with Mnangagwa is also almost the same with what is happening with Museveni, but Museveni is even much better with compared to Mnangagwa, because at least there is the situation is not as bad as in Uganda as we can talk about in our own country. So the youth, they have started already pushing the rule of against the rule of Yoweri Museveni. He has come out, of course, threatening the young people, promising them unspecified action. But I don't think that is going to be working. I don't think that is going to be the solution, because they really need to learn to engage. These leaders, their major problem is they don't know how to engage. When people are aggrieved and people are complaining about issues, you as a leader, you need to find yourself available to make sure that you solve problems, listen to the people, and find solutions together. But unfortunately, because they've ruled for a long time, they are so arrogant, they just think that they are the owners of the land. They end up becoming thick-skinned, and they don't want to listen to anyone. And this is what escalates the war, because the young people will start to see that, okay, we are speaking to a wall here, a dead wall. So let's put more pressure until these people can start to respond or to say something about it. And in the process now, that is where they want to be heavy-handed and end up creating the chaos that we have seen happening in Kenya, where many people have been lost, lives have been lost, property has been lost, and yet we still have Ruto still holding on and sticking on and does not want to go. And that is very sad and unfortunate for a leader, because leaders are supposed to understand that they are there at the discretion of the people. The people of the land are the ones that have voted. If they voted you in, you don't get there and you become the boss of the people. That is the problem with the African politicians. We've heard in America right now, Joe Biden finally has given up and surrendered, and he says he's not going to continue running the race for the presidency for 2024 because of old age. And that's exactly what we are talking about. Mnangagwa is even much older. I know Varakash want to say he's older. He's the same age with Joe Biden. He is not. Mnangagwa is much older than Biden by 6 years. And what we have seen happening to Biden is exactly what is happening to Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa, some of the things that he's saying is hallucinating. And people must understand that this hallucination, it has nothing to do with him just being, funny or things like that, like what other Varakash would always want to purport. So that is what is happening. We must have leaders that are ready to relinquish power and go. Leaders that know that, no, I've overstayed my welcome. I need to leave and open space for somebody else. And that's the problem that is still there in Uganda with Yoweri Museveni. He has been there for a very long now, and he continues to, rig elections. During the time of elections, the playing field is not even. We remember last time his own, opposition member was arrested and was put under a house arrest. You still remember? And this is one of those things that continue to happen in Africa, and we need to be fighting against some of these things, because the situation of the politics of Zimbabwe and Uganda and the other countries is what is drawing Africa back. It's drawing Africa back, because we don't have to be talking about elections. We don't have to be talking about people rigging. We don't have to be talking about dictatorship. We have to be talking about progress. When people sit down, they're supposed to be talking of how progressive Africa can be. But unfortunately, we are not going anywhere because we are all talking about war. It's always about war. In DRC, there's war. In Mozambique, there's war. In Zimbabwe, there is war, although it's a different war, but it's a war on its own. What is happening in Zimbabwe? It's a war situation. For those that are in Zimbabwe and those that understand what is happening in Zimbabwe, you'd agree that indeed Zimbabwe is in a war. It's a battle that we are fighting. And we definitely need to win this battle by making sure that we remove the enemy of the Zimbabwean people. And that happens to be Emmerson Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF. So this is what we are seeing. So the Ugandan youth have already started. We have already seen quite a lot of pushing and shoving that is already happening in the streets there. So let me just maybe show you a video that has just been shared of how the demonstrations have already started, and some bit of fights that are happening with the youth and the police. And this is one of the videos. So all of these dictator presidents, they are afraid right now as we speak, very much afraid of the youth, because the youth are coming in hot. And this is what we are saying to our youth also in Zimbabwe, that do not also let this opportunity go. This is an opportunity to push to make sure that Emmerson Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF are also out. When we are talking about demonstrations during the SADC summit, let it just happen. Let all youths, let all young people take part in their politics, the politics of their land, so as to fight for their freedom and have a better life. Otherwise, there's no better life with Emmerson Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF. Young people must understand that, and it is the responsibility is upon the young people to stand up, because the old people are old. They can't have the energy anymore to be doing some of these things. But young people are there to defend the country, to make sure that dictatorship goes. Those that want to oppress other people, they have to go. And as long as young people will rise up in power, stand up in agreement, and speak with one voice, we will definitely push ZANU-PF out of position, and Zimbabwe will recover and start to work once again. So this is what it is, family. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Always remember to subscribe, to like, and to share. We shall be meeting in upcoming shows. You are blessed.